Hi and welcome back to the channel. A few weeks ago I reviewed the Lowepro 550 Trekker AW2 bag, this one here, and I got quite a few comments regarding the Shimoda Explorer line of bags, and so I decided to test one out. It's this one here. My local camera store, Photo and Video International, were kind enough to lend me a bag for a few weeks. Here's what Photo and Video think of the Shimoda line of bags.
People that purchase them are invariably really well researched. So they come in and they ask for this bag, this model, maybe look at a couple of them. They're technically advanced, beautiful material and everything, but people don't find them by accident. You'd think that they'd be quite a masculine thing because of the outdoorsiness and the technical aspect of it, but I found actually the opposite to be true. A lot of ladies with mirrorless outfits, a little bit lighter, but looking for a bag to hold their camera gear safely and some other stuff as well to use. But certainly, obviously, outdoorsy style people that don't mind having a backpack. I like that a lot of them have adopted this entry from this side, which seems to be a thing that other bag company invented a few years ago and people use now, where it's accessed that way, which I think is great because when you put it back on your back, it's not dirty.
Yeah, I find that very useful as well. Yeah. Oh well, I'll take it away and try it out. So
give it a go.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Cheers.
Thanks, Tom.
So both these bags have similar carrying capacity and they share many of the same features. So this video is my take on the Shimoda bag, and I'll be mentioning things I liked about the bag and a few things that I didn't like about the bag. I've broken the video down into 4 parts. First, pricing and customizability. Second, usability and general features. Third, comfort. Fourth, the things I didn't like about the bag, and who is this bag intended for? What sort of photographer would suit this sort of bag? At the end, I'll do a bit of a comparison between the two bags and mention the bag that I prefer, or the bag that I think takes out the prize. So let's jump in and have a look. So one thing I like about the Shimoda bag straight off is it actually does stand up pretty nicely by itself as opposed to the Lowepro bag, and that's because the Shimoda bag has a built-in aluminium frame which gives it a little bit of rigidity. It doesn't really add much to the weight of it. So the price of the bag is about 825 New Zealand dollars as opposed to 920 for the Lowepro Trekker 550 bag, and that's in New Zealand prices. However, this is for the standard configuration of the Shimoda bag. If you want to customize the bag, that may cost you a little bit more. It is much more customizable, and I'll come to that in a minute. So the Shimoda bag comes in 3 sizes: the 25 litre, the 30 litre, and the 35 litre. This is the 35. Apparently it still fits within international airline regulations for carry-on luggage. I haven't actually tested that or measured it. The Lowepro Trekker system comes in 3 different sizes along with a couple of specialist bags. So similar offerings there, except with the Lowepro bags, once you buy the bag, there's not much customization available apart from being able to put in different arrangements of inserts or add in packing cells. The Shimoda bags, however, are very customizable. On the Shimoda website, there's loads and loads of different customization options. These bags open from the back, which is one quite different feature to the Lowepro Trekker bags. So it keeps your back dry, and it's a bit more secure if you're in places where you're worried about your security. The other thing I like about this rear opening is that it opens to the side, which takes up less space, and also the flap doesn't sit on any wet ground. The standard configuration comes with a reasonable sized insert, and these inserts are removable. You just got to lever them out around the rigid frame. The rigid frame helps hold them nice and firm, so they don't need any extra Velcro to keep them in the bag, which is really nice. And for my situation, what I've found is the standard configuration insert is actually just a little bit small. To get the sort of gear I want to carry quite often, I really needed the larger insert. So I probably would have bought the standard bag and then customized it with a larger insert. The standard insert does come with quite a lot of adjustable dividers of different sizes. The Velcro is really sticky, so once that's stuck in place, it's not going to move around. And what I really like about these dividers is that they're reasonably thin, but they're quite robust, quite rigid. So they do give really good protection without taking up a lot of room by adding too much padding. The Lowepro bag, on comparison, has much softer dividers and they tend to be a bit thicker. The bag also comes with what's effectively a packing cell. So it's just a nylon cover which can help protect the contents from dust. And really nice feature. I tend to leave this off most of the time, but it's quite nice to have, and I can use this bag as a separate packing cell for when I'm traveling. It's a little bit tricky to remove, but the top part of the bag, this pouch with lots of zippers and compartments, is also removable. So once that's removed, you've actually effectively got a complete empty suitcase, which you could use just as a suitcase. The other customizable features on this bag include the ability to get a different waistband. If you've got you need a much wider waistband if you're wearing heavy clothing, you can do that. And you can also get different harnesses because these harnesses come off. So if you're a smaller build, you can get different harnesses, which is a really nice feature. Now, I'll start with the outside of the pack and work my way in. So we've got a accessible pocket from the outside here. It's just a fairly shallow sleeve, but handy for documents or maps or things like that. On the sides, we can attach a tripod on either side, actually. We have these pockets here. So you can use that for general storage, and inside there is also a pouch with Velcro. But if you want to string a tripod on the outside, you open this side zipper here, pull out the tripod bag. You can also put a drink bottle in here. It's got room for actually quite a large drink bottle. But if you want to stick a tripod in there, you can do that. This is quite a small tripod. It will take a very large tripod. And you've got a couple of compression straps for holding it tight, and there's also a toggle for pulling that in, another compression strap on the bottom. You've got the same on the other side. The two sides are slightly different, and I'll go over that in a minute. So on the other side, you've also got a tripod holder bag, so you could take a drink bottle or another tripod on this side. Same compression straps. And also, if we open up the whole pocket, we have a couple of semi-transparent sleeves with quite a, feels like a silicone semi-waterproof or maybe even waterproof material. And I've just got a couple of filters in there designed to hold filters up to about 100 millimeters. You can leave the covers on. I find that these do offer a fair bit of protection, so I'm comfortable leaving my filters in there without the covers on. On the back of the pack, you also have a couple of loop holders here, and also on the bottom you've got a couple, and that's to use these supplied straps to allow you to tie things to the back or even underneath the pack, such as a tent or something a bit larger, even a coat or a jacket. So I'll show you how those work. So with regards to water and dust protection, The material the bag's made of does look quite showerproof, although I haven't tested this. And also the main zippers have a splash guard or a kind of a closable extra bit of material, which would provide pretty good protection against light showers. But if you're in heavy rain, there is a contained raincoat, which is at the bottom of the pack. And it has its own pouch, which is actually attached to the raincoat. I found with this raincoat, with this bag too, it's quite a generous size, which is really handy if you've got large tripods or a lot of stuff on the exterior of the bag. And another really nice feature is there are a couple of loops at the bottom where you can put the waistband through, and that just keeps the rain cover secure and stops it moving around. Really nice feature. And moving on to the rear of the pack, the harness is very comfortable, nice shape and quite wide and padded. It's also adjustable to 3 different heights. It's got a removable waist strap, and it actually comes with this helpful plastic utility which lets you slide it in and separate it from the Velcro, so it makes it much easier to remove the waist strap. And the waist strap is also adjustable, so you can adjust the length of it depending on your waist size. Very nice feature. I quite often use the bag without the waist strap on if I'm not carrying a heavy load. It's just less cumbersome. So the fronts of the harness have some very generous pockets. One which is designed to take a cell phone, and it could easily take my iPhone 15 with a heavy duty cover. And as mentioned, there's a couple of loops inside the pouches which will take things like microphones, very handy for video shooters. Also, there's a few loops on the front of the harnesses, including a couple of plastic rings. I would have liked to seen the loops, or at least 1 or 2 of the loops, being detachable so that I could put something on, like I carry a utility knife, and I would have liked to have put that on the front. But because this has a non-detachable loop, I can't actually attach that to the front. As opposed to the Lowepro Trekker bag, which does have detachable straps. There's also a very generous carrying handle at the top and one at the side, which is very large, and it's designed to slip over a roller bag. Very useful if you're traveling. What I really like is the strap at the bottom as well, which means you can pick the bag up, even if it's got a heavy load, by the bottom and the top, even when the front of the bag is open. Very handy in the field. On the front of the waist strap are a couple of little pockets. And when I say little, I mean little. You could fit something in like lens cloth. You can also fit in small lens caps, but I did have trouble fitting in my main lens caps, anything above 72 millimeters. They're a little bit small. The Explorer bag can be set up for quick access to a camera, and I'll show you how to do that. It's actually easiest to take out the inset to set this up. The inset has a zippered door on the side there, just on one side. And if you open up the pocket on the side of the camera bag, you can now access that. But there's a nifty feature that allows you to tuck the flap away in this sleeve here, the Velcroed sleeve. Which means that flap stays out of the way when you open the side. In practice, I found you need to take the backpack sort of half off to be able to access the camera. Quite nice to be able to set up the bag for quick access, or if you're not interested in that, you can just leave it closed up and use the side pockets. But with regards to comfort, I found the bag excellent. I've already mentioned the adjustable harness system, which is very easy to adjust, but once you've done it once, you shouldn't need to adjust it again. But these just Velcro off. And you've got loops here for small, medium and large. The middle one suits me best. A nice feature is that once you've got these adjusted, there's a little zipper pouch which tucks them away. The rear of the bag is quite padded with a webbing, a nice webbing which dissipates the sweat or the moisture. I found that really good. The Explorer will take up to a 16-inch laptop, such as the MacBook Pro 16-inch, but it is quite a tight squeeze for that size of laptop. It's got quite a nice padded sleeve here at the back, so it does offer good protection, but when you're accessing it from the back, you do need to be careful to make sure the edges of the laptop are under the frame, and that's for getting it in and getting it out. So just a word of warning, it is pretty tight. It's actually easier to access the laptop through the top. So you can unzip the top and you have much easier access to the laptop there. But as I mentioned, it's a fairly tight fit. So it would be much easier carrying a smaller laptop such as a MacBook Air or something. But you can do it. So what didn't I like about the bag? Well, as I mentioned, it would have been nice to have these little loops, or one or two of them, detachable so I could hook things through easily. And it does say that it can take a 16-inch laptop, but for example, the MacBook Pro 16-inch is a very tight fit. But apart from that, everything else about the bag is fabulous. So who is this bag for? Well, I think it's really suited for photographers who shoot both video and stills, and photographers that are doing vlogging or that sort of mixed media approach to work. It's really customizable, which suits that sort of shooter. I really like the fact that you can change out the interior of the bag depending on what sort of work you're doing. And I could see myself keeping a couple of different insets for different work scenarios. So with regards to comparing the two bags, the Lowepro Trekker 550 AW2 and the Shimoda Explorer version 2 35, I found the zippers on the Shomoda much smoother and easier to operate. On the Lowepro, they're just a little bit tighter and stiffer. On the Lowepro, the things I would miss having on the Shomoda bag are the detachable top, which I just found really useful as a waist bag or sling bag. And also, I carry a lot of accessories and small tools and items, and I really like the fact that you can see all of those and you can pack a lot of them into 4 or 5 different compartments up the top and the lid here, so easy access for that. I suspect if I had the Shomoda bag, I would want to purchase see-through packing cells so I could do something similar to that. The Shomoda bag does have extra features like the quick access to camera gear, being able to set it up for that. Also the front, I found these shoulder harness pockets really useful. I would use those a lot. And lastly, I have to come back to the fact that the Shomoda bag is so much more customizable And for me, that's a really big feature, that I can adapt this bag for different situations. That's what I particularly like about this bag the most. So I'd be interested to know in the comments if you've had an experience of either of these bags or any other bags that you think be worth a look at. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.